Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. And it's funny because I meant to bring my cup of brew. I have a really cool mug, says Rise and Shine, and I left it in my kitchen. But I already hit record, so we're going to roll with it. But I hope that this Monday is starting off for you peacefully. I hope that as you go into your week this week, that unexpected blessings rises up and meets you and greets you. I pray that you have a very productive week, not busy, productive. And today I wanted to do a brew that my hope and my prayer is just another reminder, another level of encouragement, because what I'm going to share with you is something that we all have, I believe we all have dealt with at one time or another. And this was birthed off of, I just had a fantastic lunch with some group of ladies, and so many different discussions come up, and it just reminds me of how valuable it is to really and truly honor your unique footprint in this world. And I know that may sound a little generic, and it's not my intention to, but I'm going to unpack this a little bit this morning. The reason why I find this to be a message that I think is so important to constantly bring up at different times is it is so easy, whether we say it or not, whether we want to believe it or not, is to look at people progressing, growing, and doing, right? And say, okay, well, I'm doing the same things, but I'm not progressing, growing in the way that they are. And what tends to happen is that blowback of you questioning your worth, you questioning your own ability, you start questioning you. And here's the thing, you can't duplicate what you're not meant to carry. You cannot duplicate someone's process because that's not your process. You can't duplicate how someone shows up in the world because that's their own unique way of showing up. You can't duplicate another person. But what you can do and focus on as often as you can is what makes you so unique in the way that you show up in the world. You may not be a person that has all of these eloquent words, but you may be able to come in and make it short and snappy and get right to the point, and people may love that, right? You may not make a whole room of people laugh, but you may make a whole room of people feel safe and good. When you really start honing in on your own tone, your own path, your own way of showing up, you find that you stop diluting who and what you were designed to be. And I wanted to share this because when I look at the bevy of women I'm around, they are night and day. People always ask me, who's your client avatar? Who's your client profile? And I don't believe in any of that stuff. I really don't. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't, because honestly, our community is comprised of so many unique women, so many unique voices, so many unique perspectives. And it's not cookie cutter, and it doesn't need to be. And when you look at ways to show up in different spaces as your own, and you start valuing that differently, you find that you do grow. You find that you do attract your audience. You find that you find your own path of how you want to show up in the world. Because I'm all about being inspired by people. Hands down, I'm inspired by many people. But I look at what they do and I'm inspired, and I appreciate the work and I celebrate their work, but I still go back to what makes me me. So I wrote down a couple of things that I wanted to offer just as frames of suggestions, just to consider if this is something that maybe you don't struggle with this, but maybe this is a good reminder to say, let me take a pause and look at what makes my voice unique in this space, and am I really showcasing that in a good and healthy way? There are so many of you guys that are authors, but you write differently. So many of you all are speakers. So many of you guys are leaders. So many of you guys are community builders, and it's important to find your unique way of showing up in that way. So here's one question I wanted to ask you. Or actually four I wrote down. So ask yourself, what's the story or experience that only you could tell in a particular kind of way? Let me give you an example of this. There are many people that have gone through different medical journeys. There are many of you guys that may have gone through different family situations that you see people post about. And you may be like, man, I went through that exact same thing. Look at your story, look at your journey, and ask yourself, what's a unique way of showcasing this? What's a unique way of sharing this? Maybe my journey is like theirs, but it isn't theirs. So maybe I can share this perspective because this is something that's very unique to what I went through. That's a way of really honoring your journey and your path. And sometimes we forget that because we think, maybe not make it all encompassing. It's easy to assume that well, who's going to care about what I went through? Who's going to care about my process? Who's going to care that, I went through a cancer journey and I decided to go bungee jumping, to do all the risky stuff because I just wanted to live life differently. Who's going to care about that? Well, maybe that person who is going through a cancer journey and feels like life is over. Maybe they feel like they can't do anything, but they see you still living, still choosing to show up. So maybe they may not do the activities that you did, but they may say, you know what? I'm still alive. Let me live. So they may see your journey and be inspired to keep moving forward. That's why it's important to not dilute your voice, not to dilute your experiences, not to dilute your expertise, not to dilute the person that you were crafted to be. Because when we water down our experiences, when we water down and assume that what we've gone through isn't significant enough to share, we hurt the opportunity to really share the things that we've experienced that can absolutely help someone else. Okay, number 2, I wrote down here, if you kept yourself thinking, how would they do it? Pause and ask and said, how do I naturally see it? Whenever I see someone's approach to solutions or situations, I often think, oh, that's really awesome. Or sometimes I may think, I wouldn't do it that way. I always look at, how would I handle that? How would I approach that? How would I do X, Y, and Z? Even when I start, let me tell you a very true feedback I got one time. In doing the Monday morning brews, I have been told, make them longer. I have been told, hey, Kim, I know sometimes you don't show up with makeup on. And sometimes you just may have, like I do here this morning, some gloss. Maybe consider doing your hair differently. Maybe consider doing this, that, and the other differently. I've had all type of feedback because other people show up in a certain kind of way. That's not me. Sometimes I love makeup. Sometimes I love simplicity. Sometimes I may make things a little bit longer, but I kind of like short and sweet too. And I found this is my unique way of showing up. This is how I want to do inspiration on Monday mornings. This is how I'm choosing to show up. I may not do it for an hour or 30 minutes or 2 hours, and that's okay. Someone else can, but that's not how I'm choosing to show up. And honoring how you choose to show up is so, so important because it allows you to create boundaries around your voice. Okay. The third thing, whether it's how you write emails, how you host a meeting, you show up online, what have you, create different ways that are always going to be distinctively your thing. That way it creates like a signature that people know when they see this, oh, that's Tanisha, that's Michelle, that's how Melissa would do it. And that absolutely helps create, in my opinion, familiarity with your brand, familiarity with your organization or your ministry or whatever it is that you may be growing. It creates that when they know that's that person. Oh yeah. There was someone who posted something recently. I sent out some different things. I just wanted to encourage some people. And someone called me and said, okay, the person didn't put your name on it, but I know that's your signature thing right here. I recognize that. And she knew that the person just wrote a general thing saying, thank you, you know who you are for sharing this or sending this to me. And I knew exactly because she and I already communicate offline. And but it was funny that someone recognized it and said, I know this is you. And that's what you need to do. Find ways to distinctively carve out your voice. And let me say this as a caveat why this is so vital. We each are here for a reason. We're each here for a purpose. We're each here because we have unique things that we are meant to share with people, period. And so if we find or try to make ourselves blend, if we make ourselves gray, kind of like, blending with everybody, if we don't challenge our own unique voice and our own unique way of doing things and showing up, we miss so many opportunities, not just to be able to be a blessing to other people, but even just how God can expand the things that he's put in us. If we're choosing to say that we are going to dilute, hide, hinder the things that make us who we are, we also do the same thing with the level of expansion that he can do in our lives. So that's why it's important to really honor you and your way of doing things. And the last thing I want to put, and I love this one here, is guard against too much noise. We all scroll, we all look at things, right? But I put on here, too much scrolling sometimes can drown your originality. So trade consumption time for creation time. So sometimes we feel like I just need to look at things. And I don't know about you, sometimes it's easy to get into a rabbit hole of looking to where you realize, okay, I don't even know where to begin. But instead of doing that, just spend some time looking at maybe a few things, but then spend the rest of the time just creating. I think sometimes we miss having fun in creating the things that we are designed to create, whether that's programs at your job, whether that's stuff for your organization, whatever it might be. Create real time to breathe and introduce the things that you want to in the world in ways that feel like you. And actually, oh, wait a minute, I had five. Okay, so I put this here. I said, your quirks aren't flaws, they're fingerprints. The parts you want to polish away are often what makes you unforgettable. And I find this so often. Women be like, well, Kim might do this and Kim might do that and Kim, da da da. Do not make them go away. Those are sometimes the things that make you you. When I think about right now, and I'm not going to name names, but the bevy of women that I'm around, I can literally pick out different attributes of who they are. And certain things stand out immediately because that's who they are. And some of them have quirky ways of doing things. Some people have very straight ways of doing things. Some people have unique ways of doing things. But in each one, I laugh and I smile as I'm thinking about them because it's their unique fingerprint of who they are. And I love that. And those are the things that I always try to encourage people, bring more of that out because it makes you you. So I'm gonna end on this. Yeah, I'm gonna read because I wrote a whole lot, and I know I always try to be respectful of the time, but I put on here: silence the urge to duplicate, silence the urge to dilute your voice, silence the urge to assume that what makes you you is insignificant, because it's not. You are incredibly significant. You are incredibly um, worth worth every experience you went through, and we want to hear about them. We want to learn the different lessons. You don't have to repeat the same stories over and over and over. Find all the different ways that have made your path unique. Your way of understanding things unique. Share that. Put that out there in the world. Do not silence that because we need to hear that. And here's the last thing I put on here. Lean into the rhythm that only that you can bring, because your way isn't just a way. It's the way for someone else. It's a way for someone else. I wrote it and I can't read it. Is the way someone else has been waiting for. Okay. So I just want to encourage you all today. Stand out there in your unique thumbprint. Be who you are in every sense of the way that you can be. And never ever silence the unique things that make you who you are. All right. Thank you, ladies, for joining me for another Monday Morning Brew. I can't wait to hear you. I always say hear your comments, but see your comments below. Post them. I always enjoy seeing your thoughts, your comments, your experiences. And I always tell you guys, and I probably will keep saying it, it does bless people. There are people who may never comment on these, but they watch them all the time. And when they see the things that you post, it's encouraging to them. So I hope and pray that you each have an amazingly blessed week. And I hope that you do something creative in the only way that you can do it. All right. Have a wonderful day.